Oh my God.
The dust storm had come and gone 3 days ago. It had been a big one, the kind that turned the whole sky brown and made it hard to breathe. The wind had howled like an angry animal. The sand had covered everything. And when it finally passed, the world looked different. Empty, quieter, sadder. On the edge of a wide, lonely prairie, there stood an old ranch called Riverside Ranch. It had a name because a river once ran near it, but that was a long time ago. Now the river was just a dry ditch, and the ranch was just broken wood and forgotten memories. The main house had a roof that was caving in. The fences were falling over. The barn, the big red barn that once held hay and tools, and the sounds of working people, was now just a pile of broken wood lying on the ground like old bones. The ranch owner had left 6 months ago. He had left because times were hard. Money was gone. Hope was gone. So he simply walked away one morning and never came back. He left everything behind. The tools, the broken chairs, and something far more important. He left the animals. In the far corner of the ranch, behind where the big barn used to stand, stood a mother horse. Her name was Mercy. No one had called her by her name in so long that she barely remembered it herself. She was a beautiful mare. Once her coat had been shiny and dark brown, like fresh coffee. Her legs had been strong. Her eyes had been bright and full of life. But that was before. That was when people cared for her. That was when she had food and water and shelter. Now she was different. Mercy's ribs showed through her skin. You could count every single one if you looked at her carefully. Her coat was not shiny anymore. It was covered in dust and dirt and the marks of sun and wind. Her mane was tangled and messy. Her legs were too thin like they might break if someone leaned too hard on them. Her eyes were still beautiful, but they were different now. They were sad. They held a kind of pain that only comes from suffering for a long time. Standing close to Mercy were her 2 babies. Her foals. The larger foal was a boy. He was born about 2 months ago, right before the ranch owner left. He was strong for his age, with a dark coat like his mother. His name might have been something once, but now there was no one to call him by it. He stayed very close to his mother. He did not know how to survive alone, so he stayed near her legs, always touching her, always near. The smaller foal was a girl. She was born maybe 3 weeks after her brother. She was lighter colored, almost golden in some places. She was not as strong as her brother. Her legs were shaky. Sometimes she fell down for no reason, just because her body was too tired and too hungry to stand up. When she fell, her mother would nuzzle her and help her stand again. The little foal would then press against her mother's side, seeking warmth and comfort that her mother could barely give anymore. Day after day, Mercy stood in the same place. She did not move much because moving took energy, and energy was something she did not have. She ate the dry, brown grass that grew near her feet. The grass tasted like dust. It did not have much food in it, but it was all there was. Her babies tried to eat grass too, but they were too young. They still needed milk from their mother. Mercy's milk was getting weaker. Her body did not have enough food to make good milk anymore, but she gave what she could. Every day her foals would drink, and every day Mercy would feel weaker. It was a choice she made without thinking about it. Mothers do that. They give everything, even when they have nothing left to give. The sun was very hot during the day. It burned down on the animals with no mercy, no shelter, no trees, no shade. Mercy would stand very still, trying to save energy, trying to make her body use as little as possible. Her foals would lean against her, seeking the only shadow they could find. At night, it got cold. Very cold. The desert was like that. Hot in the day, cold at night. Mercy would stand very close to her babies and try to warm them with her body. There was a well on the ranch, but the well had run dry. There was no water coming from it any more. Mercy had walked to the well many times, hoping, but there was only darkness and dry stone. She had tried to dig with her hooves, but the ground was too hard, so now there was no water. Her foals had never even seen water. They did not know what it was. They only knew thirst. Days passed, then more days. Time moved slowly when you are suffering. Each day felt like forever. Mercy got thinner. Her foals got weaker. The smaller one, the golden girl, had started to make a sound, a kind of quiet cry that came from deep inside. It was the sound of pain. It was the sound of a body that was running out of time. Mercy looked at her babies and felt something break inside her heart. She had done everything she could. She had protected them. She had given them milk and warmth and love. But it was not enough. Her love was not enough to save them. The world was too hard. The sun was too hot. The hunger was too big. Mercy looked up at the empty sky and wondered if anyone was out there. Anyone at all. Anyone who might see them. Anyone who might care. Her eyes were filled with a silent prayer. A hope that maybe, just maybe, before it was too late, someone would come. But the prairie was empty. The wind blew across the broken ranch, and Mercy stood in the forgotten corner, protecting her babies, waiting for a miracle that seemed like it would never come.
Samuel had been riding for a long time. He was a man who did not stay in one place for very long. He had come to the Wild West years ago, looking for something he could not name. Peace, maybe? Or maybe just a place where he could be alone. He rode from ranch to ranch, from town to town, doing work that needed to be done. He fixed fences. He helped with cattle. He moved on. That was his life. It was a lonely life, but it was his. On this particular day, Samuel was riding through the prairie on his horse, a dark gray animal named Storm. Storm was a good horse, strong and quiet and loyal. Samuel and Storm understood each other without needing to speak. They had been together for 5 years. They trusted each other completely. The sun was starting to turn orange. It would be sunset soon. Samuel was thinking about the next town, about finding a place to sleep, maybe getting some hot food. He was not thinking about anything else. He was just riding, letting his mind wander, letting the movement of the horse calm his thoughts. Then Storm stopped. This was strange. Storm did not usually stop for no reason. Samuel felt his horse tense underneath him. Storm's ears went straight up. He was looking at something ahead. Samuel looked in that direction and saw the old ranch. Just a broken place. A place where people used to live but did not anymore. Samuel had seen many places like this in the West. Places that had been left behind. Places where hope had died. Samuel was about to ride past it. There was no reason to stop. But something made him slow down. Something made him look more carefully. That was when he saw her. At first, it was just a shape. A dark shape standing very still behind the broken barn. Samuel thought maybe it was just a rock or a piece of broken wood. But then the shape moved slightly, and Samuel saw that it was a horse. A mother horse, standing alone. Samuel pulled on Storm's reins and brought him to a stop. Something felt wrong. Something felt very wrong. Samuel did not know why, but his body knew. His heart started to beat a little faster. He climbed down from Storm slowly and carefully. He did not tie Storm to anything. Storm would stay. Storm always stayed. Easy, Samuel said to Storm, putting his hand on the horse's neck. Just wait here. Samuel started walking toward the broken barn. As he walked, he saw more. He saw 2 small shapes next to the big shape. Baby horses. Foals. Very small foals. Samuel's steps got faster. His worry grew bigger with each step. When he got closer, he could see them clearly now. The mother horse was standing like a statue. She was so thin that Samuel could count her ribs from far away. Her coat was covered in dust. Her foals were pressed against her sides. One foal was larger and stood fairly well. But the other one, the smaller, lighter-colored one, was barely standing. Her legs were shaking. Her head was hanging down. Samuel felt his throat get tight. This was bad. This was very, very bad. He walked slowly toward them. He did not want to scare them. The mother horse saw him, and her whole body went stiff. She was afraid. Samuel could see the fear in her eyes. She had learned that humans could not be trusted. She had learned that humans left. That they abandoned. That they did not care. "Easy, girl," Samuel said softly. His voice was calm and quiet. "I am not going to hurt you." The mother horse snorted. Her eyes were wild. She turned her body to put herself between Samuel and her foals. She was protecting them. Even though she was weak and tired and dying, she was still protecting her babies. Samuel understood. He stopped walking. He did not come closer. Instead, Samuel sat down. Right there in the dust, he sat down. He sat down slowly and carefully, making himself as small and harmless as possible. The mother horse watched him. Her muscles were tight. Her breathing was fast. But Samuel sat very still. He did not move. He did not speak. He just sat there. Time passed. The sun got lower in the sky. Samuel did not move. The mother horse did not move. Her foal stood beside her, confused and tired. Minutes went by. Maybe 30 minutes. Maybe an hour. Samuel lost track of time. He just sat there, showing the mare that he was not dangerous. That he was not going to hurt her or her babies. Slowly, the mother horse's breathing began to slow down. Her muscles began to relax a little bit. She was still afraid, but the fear was becoming something else. Something smaller. Samuel could see her nostrils moving, smelling him. She was trying to figure out what kind of human he was. "I know you do not trust me," Samuel said very quietly. "I know humans have not been good to you. But I am different. I promise you I am different." The smaller foal made a weak sound. A kind of cry. The mother horse lowered her head and touched the foal gently with her nose. She was checking on her baby. The foal pressed against her, seeking comfort. Samuel's heart broke a little bit watching this. He could see that the little foal was very sick. Very weak. The foal needed water. The foal needed food. The foal needed help soon, or it would die. Samuel stood up very slowly. The mother horse watched him carefully, ready to run or fight if he came near. But Samuel did not come near. Instead, he walked back to where Storm was waiting. From his bag, he pulled out a water bottle. It was not much, just water he was carrying for himself, but it was something. He poured the water into a cup that he had and walked back slowly. He did not look directly at the mother horse. He just set the water down, away from himself, and stepped back. The mother horse watched. Then, after what seemed like forever, she took a step toward the water. Then another step. She smelled it. And then, she began to drink. She drank all of it. Every single drop. Her foals tried to drink too, but there was nothing left for them. "I will get you more," Samuel said. "I will get you food and water. You are going to live. Your babies are going to live. I promise you." The mother horse looked at him. For the first time, there was something different in her eyes. Maybe it was not trust. But maybe it was hope. Maybe it was the smallest beginning of hope. Samuel turned and walked back to Storm. He had a new plan now. He was not going to the next town. Not tonight. Tonight, he was going to help these horses. Tonight, his loneliness would have a purpose. Samuel did not sleep that night. He could not sleep. The smaller foal was very sick, and Samuel knew that sick things could die quickly. Very quickly. As soon as it became dark, Samuel got to work. He used the last of the light to explore the broken ranch. He needed to find 3 things: water, food, and shelter. These were the things that kept animals alive. Without them, everything died. He started with the well. The well was an old stone structure near what used to be the main house. Samuel had seen it from far away, but now he walked right to it and looked down into the darkness. The well was deep. Very deep. But it was empty. Or at least the water was so far down that he could not see it or reach it. Samuel did not give up. He found a rope and tied it to an old bucket. He dropped the bucket down into the darkness. Lower and lower it went. His arms felt the weight of the rope. Down, down, down. Then, he felt something. The bucket had hit something. It was wet. There was water down there. Samuel pulled the rope back up slowly. His hands hurt from the rough rope, but he did not care. Hand over hand, he pulled. His muscles burned. Sweat dripped down his face even though the night was getting cold. Finally, the bucket came up. It was only half full, but there was water. Real water. Cool and clean and beautiful. Samuel carried the bucket carefully back to where the mother horse and her foals waited. The mare heard him coming and stood very still, watching. She was still afraid, but not as much as before. Samuel set the bucket down carefully. "Come on, Mama," he said gently. "Your babies need this." The mother horse stepped forward. She drank deeply. The water disappeared from the bucket in seconds. She wanted more, but there was no more. Samuel could see in her eyes that she understood. There was only a little water. She had to choose. She had to think about her foals. Samuel watched as she walked away from the empty bucket and back to her babies. She let them drink the tiny bit of water that was left on her lips and nose. This was a mother's love. She would go without so her babies could have something. "I will get more water," Samuel promised. "I will get a lot more." Next, Samuel needed food. He walked through the broken ranch looking for the barn or any place where hay might be stored. The big red barn was completely destroyed, but behind it, he found something. There was a smaller storage building. Its door was hanging off its hinges, but inside there was hay. It was old hay. It was dusty. But it was food. Samuel pulled the hay out piece by piece. His arms got tired. His back hurt. But he kept working. He made many trips back and forth, carrying the hay in his arms. Finally, he had a big pile of it near where the horses were standing. The mother horse smelled the hay immediately. Her eyes opened wider. She walked over slowly and began to eat. She chewed carefully, as if the hay might disappear if she ate too fast. Her foals came over too. The larger foal tried to eat hay, but he did not know how yet. Foals that young still need milk more than hay. But the smaller foal just stood there, not eating, not interested in anything. This worried Samuel very much. Samuel sat down near the smaller foal. The foal was trembling. Even though Samuel had brought hay and water, the foal was getting worse, not better. Samuel could see this clearly. The foal's breathing was fast and hard. The foal's eyes were half closed. The foal was burning up with fever. "Oh, little one," Samuel whispered. "You have to stay strong. You have to fight." Samuel knew he had to do something. He could not just let the foal die. He would not accept that. So Samuel made a decision. He would stay awake all night. He would watch the foal. He would help the foal survive. Samuel found an old blanket in one of the broken buildings. The blanket was dirty, but it would work. He filled his water bottle from the well again. Then he sat down right next to the smaller foal. The night was long and hard. Every time the foal got too hot, Samuel would wet the blanket with cool water and place it gently on the foal's body. Every time the foal cried out in pain, Samuel would talk to it, whispering stories and words of comfort. "Listen to me, little girl," Samuel said softly. "I know you are hurting. I know you are scared. But you are going to be okay. I promise you. Your mother is strong. Your brother is strong. And you are strong too. You just do not know it yet." The foal did not understand the words, but she understood the voice. She understood that someone cared. Samuel's hand was gentle on her neck. His voice was calm and kind. This was better than pain. This was better than being alone. Samuel told the foal stories to keep her awake. He told her about green pastures where grass grew thick and sweet. He told her about clear rivers where the water was cold and clean and endless. He told her about sunny days with no heat and nights with no cold. He told her about running and playing and being free. "That is where you are going, little one," Samuel whispered. "That is your future. But first, you have to be strong right now. You have to make it through this night." The hours passed slowly. Samuel's eyes got heavy. His body was so tired. But whenever he started to fall asleep, the foal would tremble, and Samuel would wake up immediately. He could not fail this baby horse. He would not. Around midnight, the smaller foal stopped trembling so much. Her breathing got slower. Samuel did not know if this was good or bad. He kept his hand on her side, feeling her breathe. In and out. In and out. Alive. Still alive. Just before the sun came up, the foal's fever broke. Samuel could feel it. The foal's body was cooler. The foal opened her eyes and looked at Samuel. Really looked at him. There was recognition in those eyes now. The foal knew that this man had saved her life. The mother horse came over and touched her foal gently with her nose. She knew too. She knew what Samuel had done. And in the early morning light, with the foal still alive, the mother horse did something she had not done before. She nickered softly to Samuel. Not a sound of fear. A sound of thanks. Samuel closed his eyes for just a moment, and felt tears roll down his face. 3 days passed. Then 5 days. Then a week. Each day, Samuel watched the smaller foal get a little bit stronger. The fever did not come back. The foal began to stand for longer periods without falling down. By the 5th day, the foal was actually eating some hay, chewing slowly and carefully. By the 7th day, the foal tried to run. It was a clumsy, unsteady run, but it was a run. The golden foal, the one Samuel had started calling Hope, was beginning to live again. The larger foal was doing even better. He had been stronger from the start, and with food and water, he grew stronger every day. His coat began to shine a little bit. His legs became more solid. Samuel called him Valor because even at such a young age he showed courage. He protected his sister. He stood guard while she was weak. That was bravery, Samuel thought. But the one who changed the most was the mother horse. Each day, Mercy looked a little bit more like the beautiful animal she must have been before. Samuel kept bringing water from the well. He was making more trips now, sometimes 5 or 6 times a day. His hands were covered in blisters from the rope, but he did not care. The water kept coming, and Mercy drank, and her strength returned. Her ribs were still visible, but not as much. Her coat began to shine. Her eyes, those sad, broken eyes, began to fill with light again. And she began to trust Samuel in a way that made his heart feel full. Every morning, when Samuel came with food and water, Mercy would nicker softly. A greeting. A welcome. She would stand near him instead of away from him. One day, she even let Samuel touch her neck. Just for a moment, but it happened. And Samuel felt like he had been given the greatest gift in the world. The foals started to play. Valor would run in circles around his mother. Hope would chase him, her golden coat shining in the sun. They would jump and kick and make the sounds that young horses make when they are happy and healthy and alive. Samuel would sit and watch them, and sometimes he would have to stop and wipe his eyes because he was crying. Happy crying. The kind of crying that comes when you save something beautiful and see it come back to life. But one morning, about 2 weeks after he had arrived at the ranch, Samuel woke up and knew something. He knew that he could not leave them here. He could not save them and then leave them at this broken, forgotten ranch. They needed more than a few days of care. They needed a real home. They needed pastures with grass. They needed water that did not have to be pulled from a deep, dark well. They needed shelter from the storms. They needed him to take them away. Samuel spent all of that day thinking about what to do. He did not have much. He had Storm, his horse. He had a small amount of money from the work he had done over the years. He had no home. He had no family. But he had something better. He had a purpose now. He had a reason to build something. A reason to stay in one place. That afternoon, Samuel started gathering things from the broken ranch. He found old wood that was still strong. He found rope. He found nails and tools. He worked as fast as he could, using his hands and his knowledge to build something new. Something that would hold the horses safely while he took them to the next town. By evening, he had built a simple but strong trailer. It was attached to Storm. It was not beautiful, but it was safe. It would hold the horse and her foals. Samuel walked over to Mercy. The mother horse was standing with her babies close by, watching him work. Samuel put his hand on her neck and felt her warmth, her strength, her life. "Mama," Samuel said, and his voice was shaking a little bit. "I need you to trust me one more time. The biggest time. I am going to take you and your babies away from here. Away from this broken place. To somewhere better. Somewhere with green grass and clean water and shelter. Will you come with me?" Mercy could not understand his words. But she understood something. She understood that Samuel cared about her. She understood that he had saved her life. And she understood that this man was asking her to be brave one more time. The mother horse looked at the broken ranch. She looked at the dried-up well. She looked at the collapsed barn and the empty pastures. This place had abandoned her. This place had left her to die. She had no attachment to it anymore. Her life was not here. Her life was with her foals. And if her foals were going to live, they needed to go. Mercy took one step toward the trailer. Then another step. Her foals followed, staying close to her side. Hope was still not completely strong, but she was strong enough. And she trusted her mother. Samuel led them gently to the trailer. Mercy walked in first, and her foals followed. Samuel secured the gates carefully. Not so tight that it hurt them, but tight enough to keep them safe. Samuel climbed onto Storm. He took one last look at the riverside ranch, the place where 3 living beings had almost died, and where Samuel had learned that one person could make a difference. "Let's go," he said quietly. "Let's go to something better." Storm began to walk. The trailer rolled behind him. Inside, Mercy stood with her foals. Her ribs were still a little bit visible. Her coat was still a little bit dusty. But her eyes were alive. Her spirit was strong. Her foals were safe. And she was moving toward hope instead of away from it. The sun was beginning to set, turning the sky orange and pink and purple. Samuel looked up at the sky and felt something shift inside his chest. He had been alone for so long. He had been running from place to place for so long. But now he had purpose. Now he had something to care for. Now he had family, not by blood, but by choice. By love. The journey would be long. The trail would be dusty. The nights would be cold. But Samuel knew something that he had not known before. He knew that it was worth it. All of it was worth it. Behind him, in the trailer, a mother horse stood with her 2 foals, and she nickered softly. A sound of hope. A sound of tomorrow. A sound that said, "We made it. We are alive. And we are going home." 3 months had passed since Samuel brought Mercy and her foals to the land he had found. The land was not much at first. It was empty prairie, with a few old trees and the remains of what used to be a small farm. But it had something the riverside ranch did not have. It had a stream. Real, flowing water that never ran dry. The water was cold and clean and endless. And it had grass. Real grass. Green and thick and full of life. Samuel had worked harder than he had ever worked in his life. He fixed the old buildings. He built new shelters with a roof that did not leak. He repaired fences so that horses could run safely without getting lost. He hauled water when the stream was low. He cut hay for the winter that was coming. His hands were always dirty. His body always hurt. But he did not care. Because every single day, he could see them getting better. Mercy was no longer thin. Her ribs were covered with muscle and healthy skin. Her coat shone like polished leather in the sunlight. It was a rich brown color, almost black in some places, and it caught the light beautifully when she ran. Her mane and tail were long and flowing now. The tangles were gone. The dirt was washed away. She was the beautiful horse she had always been meant to be. But it was her eyes that had changed the most. Those eyes that had held such sadness, such pain, such hopelessness, they were completely different now. They were bright. They were full of life. They sparkled when she looked at her foals. They showed trust when she looked at Samuel. And sometimes, when the light was just right, Samuel swore he could see joy in those eyes. Real joy. The kind of joy that only comes when you thought everything was lost and then found out you were wrong. Valor had become a strong young horse. His coat was dark and shiny. His legs were powerful and fast. He ran through the pastures like he owned the whole world. He would race Storm just for fun, galloping at full speed, his mane flying behind him. He was fearless and wild and beautiful. Everything a young horse should be. But Hope was the real miracle. The small, golden foal who had been so sick, so weak, so close to death, she was now the strongest of them all in spirit. Yes, she was still a little smaller than her brother. Yes, she would never be quite as big as Valor. But what she had lost in size, she made up for in courage. Hope would run faster. She would jump higher. She would try things that made other horses nervous. She was proof that the weakest moment could become the strongest beginning. Every morning, Mercy would stand at the fence of her pasture and watch the sunrise. Samuel would come out with fresh hay and fresh water, and Mercy would nicker to him. Not just a hello. A real greeting. A conversation. She would press her head against his chest, and Samuel would put his arms around her neck. This was their ritual now. Every morning, they said hello to each other and to the new day. Then Valor and Hope would wake up. They would run to their mother, and she would touch them with her nose, checking that they were okay. Then all three horses would eat together, their bodies strong and healthy and alive. One afternoon, about 3 months after they arrived, Samuel decided it was time to do something he had been thinking about for a long time. He went to the nearest town, a small town called Clearwater Creek about 5 miles away. He went to the general store and posted a sign. He wrote it in large letters so that everyone could see it. Samuel's Haven, a place for forgotten horses. The sign explained that Samuel had a small farm where horses that had been abandoned or neglected could come to heal. Horses could stay for as long as they needed to get strong again. Samuel would take care of them, feed them, give them shelter and love. And when they were better, he would find them good homes where they would be cared for forever. The sign also said, "If you know of a horse that needs help, please come tell Samuel. No animal should suffer alone." At first, nobody came. Samuel did not mind. He was happy with Mercy and her foals. But then, a week later, a farmer came riding up with a horse that was even thinner than Mercy had been. The horse's legs were shaking. Its eyes were empty. "I cannot take care of this one anymore," the farmer said. "I do not have enough food. I do not have enough money. But I do not want to see it die. I heard about your place." Samuel nodded. He did not say much. He just took the horse and led it to a pasture. He gave it food and water. And he began the work again. The work of saving a life. Within a month, there were 5 horses on Samuel's Haven. Within 2 months there were 10. Word spread through the towns and the ranches. People knew that there was a man who cared. A man who would not let animals suffer. A man who believed that every creature deserved a chance to live. One afternoon, a woman came riding up to the farm. She was looking for a horse. She wanted a calm, gentle horse for her daughter. She wanted a horse that knew what it meant to overcome hardship. She wanted a horse with heart. Samuel took her out to the pasture. And there was Valor, running and playing and looking like the king of the world. "That one," the woman said immediately. "That one has something special." Samuel brought Valor to her. The young horse was no longer frightened of humans. He had learned that humans could be kind. The woman sat on his back, and Valor carried her across the pasture like they had always belonged together. The woman cried happy tears. "He is perfect," she said. "How did you save him?" Samuel looked over at Mercy and Hope, standing together in the distance. Mercy had her head near her daughter's head. They were standing so close that they looked like one animal. "I did not save them," Samuel said quietly. "They saved themselves. I just gave them a chance." The woman left with Valor, and Samuel felt sad for a moment. But then he looked at Mercy, and Mercy looked at him. And Samuel understood. The whole point was not to keep them. The whole point was to heal them and let them go to better lives. As the months turned into a year, Samuel's haven became known throughout the entire region. Horses came. Horses healed. Horses went to good homes where they were loved and cared for. And through it all, Mercy stayed. Hope stayed too. They had a home here. They had a human who loved them. They had a stream and grass and shelter and safety. But more than that, they had purpose. They helped other horses. When new, frightened horses arrived, Mercy would go to them. She would nuzzle them gently. She would stand near them at night. She would tell them without words, "I know you are scared. I know you have suffered. But you are going to be okay. I promise. I am proof." And the horses believed her. On clear nights, Samuel would sit outside and look at the stars. Mercy would come and stand beside him, and Hope would lean against her mother. And Samuel would think about that day when he was just passing through, when he saw a mother horse and her foals dying in the dust. He would think about how one moment can change everything. One moment of stopping. One moment of caring. One moment of saying yes instead of riding past. That one moment had changed his life. It had given him a purpose. It had given him a home. It had given him family. And it had saved 3 lives that were going to save many more lives after that. In the distance, across the pasture, he could hear Mercy nicker softly to her daughter. A mother's voice. Telling her baby that they were safe. That they were home. That they were loved. Samuel closed his eyes and smiled. "Thank you," he whispered to Mercy, to Hope, to Valor, to every horse that had ever suffered and survived. "Thank you for teaching me that mercy is not weakness. Mercy is strength. Mercy is everything." And the stars shone bright above Samuel's haven, a place where broken things became whole, where forgotten souls learned to live again, and where love, pure, simple, powerful love, changed everything.